Welcome to the Check Your Head podcast, Mental Health for Musicians. I'm Fong, your host and longtime music journalist and life coach for musicians. And this is part 2 of the interview with the Bloody Beetroots and Sir Bob Cornelius Rifo. We have again Melanie and Anthony Clark of the Amazing Clarks. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Great to be here. Let's do a quick introduction. I'm Anthony Clark.
I'm Melanie Clark.
And we are
the Amazing Clarks.
We are award-winning certified life and relationship coaches, and people call us the Amazing Clarks because we empower people to live amazing lives.
Awesome. Now, Sir Bob of the Bloody Beetroots, huge in the electronic world. We talked about the first part of our episode. Now, the second part, he does talk about the dangers of taking shortcuts in his life, riding the roller coaster of fame, and also how he's evolved from his experiences. So let's take a listen to part 2 of Sir Bob's interview.
And I almost killed myself once, you know.
How was
and
that?
you're talking with a guy that is wearing a mask, playing with strobe lights, and where, you know, you cannot breathe properly, you cannot hear properly, you cannot see properly. And, you know, okay, put some whiskey in yourself, and that's even, you know, worse. So controlling yourself and delivering a great performance with all your senses open, it was a miracle to me. And I discovered a different myself. I said, wow, if I can't do this right now without improving, you know, my body language, without improving my resistance, my cardiovascular resistance, if I improve my body, I can deliver like 150 times better than tonight. And it switched on me. And I became a superhero. I feel like a superhero
You
now.
are a superhero. You're definitely we're starting this thing, the Check Your Head superheroes, when you come and speak your truth about mental health. And you know, you said something really important, because a lot of musicians can get to the edge where they feel like they lose themselves, or they might even, you know, try and hurt themselves. I mean, what was the lowest point for you, and how did that turn around?
It was 2013. In Australia, during a festival called Big Day Out. I was shooting vitamin B12 in veins, you know, because I couldn't stand. And, you know, B12 gives you that superpower.
Right, the energy.
You can live for an hour and then that's it. Just the time for a performance. And I said to myself, I can't really do this. I have 150 gigs in front of myself until the end of the year. You know, I can't do that. And then I started to change. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit everything. And after a week, I started, you know, learning how to be with myself. And that was a very evolving year for me. And consequently, you know, I started, you know, training. You know, it was an evolution.
Well, I'm so glad that you went through that evolution. It takes a lot of work, and it's almost like you saw the light. And I think sometimes when people grab a drink or, you know, take drugs or whatever it is to quell their stage fright or anxiety or depression, whatever it is, that initial lift ends up eventually bringing you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And possibly destroying you.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You know, not facing the problem. You know, you got a problem, you choose the how do you say, the shortcut, because you're not able to face your problem. Life has a lot of problems. You know, life is hard, and you gotta learn how to fix your problems at the moment that your problems are coming to you. But that's not only, you know, for performing on stage. That's life in general. You gotta learn that. Only you can do it. I'm not Jesus. There's no God. I mean, it's you. All right?
So without all of that, I mean, I was listening to Lady Gaga,
Ah.
and she was saying that she was going to perform at the Super Bowl. And before that, she said, well, I'm excited. And she said that she was actually nervous, but she's turning that into excitement because those two things almost feel the same.
Yeah.
How did you end up dealing with the anxiety, any stage fright of, performing to hundreds of thousands of people without the whiskey or without, other things to...
When you know yourself and you know that you can deliver a great performance, that's it. It takes confidence. And when you learn that confidence of yourself, it's all there. You can transform, the energy. It's really that simple. But confidence takes time to be built. And once again, I want to be redundant. It's a journey that you take out of the music business, out of the touring, out of everything. It's at home. It's when you walk, around the streets. It's right there with your friends, with your family. So still, it's a discipline that can be built out of, the stage.
You have a new remix out by, is it Frank? Frankie, the Rattlesnakes.
Yeah, those guys.
And the song is called Why a Butterfly Can't Love a Spider. And what I thought was interesting was the chorus says, when I'm high, I'm in heaven. When I'm low, I'm in hell. When I'm up, I'm a sinner. And when I'm down, I'm unwell. And it kind of sounds very much like bipolar, which sometimes happens to musicians, or just the roller coaster ride, of being in the music industry. I mean, what were some of the early challenges that you had that maybe you can alert other musicians,
Well, you cannot be in the spotlight forever. That's the main issue that a musician have. It's normal. You have low waves and high waves, and it is what it is. But you gotta be prepared for the low rides, because on the low rides you can do someone else, something else, and still, I want to say, different passions out of the music will help you to rebuild the music as well. I've been around for 15 years. There was a lot of, low and high. And but when I was living my lows, I had great time taking pictures or traveling and meeting new people or driving, drifting with a car or going around with a motorbike. Why not? That's all stuff that you can talk about when you start writing a song. But if you have nothing to talk, of course you're going to have depression, anxiety, because you're not actually living. So my question is, what's life for you, man? That's a question that should be submitted to everybody with some struggles. What's life for you?
Yeah, like what?
Tell me what is your life? What
do
does
you
it
love,
look
or
like? What do you love?
What do you enjoy doing?
Exactly.
Like getting back to the basics.
Exactly.
And maybe like the core of who you are.
Exactly. That's then the trick, I guess. It works for me. I don't know.
Well, I was reading a little bit about your childhood, and you said you described yourself as kind of like a cuckoo crazy kid, and that
I'm still.
okay, and that you had to move schools. Maybe you got into, I don't know if you got into trouble. Can you think of why did you describe yourself as that? I mean, what were some of the things that you did or said
that define me a cuckoo crazy guy?
Right. We need the stories. We need.
I think I was, in search for my own language, and I couldn't really interact with the other kids because I was an introvert. First of all, I was super shy. I was looking for something, and that something came out when I started learning to play guitar. And I said, oh, this is probably my language. And then I started learning drums to say, oh, this is probably another language that I can use. And then I started playing bass and singing jazz music. And I expanded and learned how to, express myself differently. And I think I was cuckoo just because I was looking for something, We're all different. We're all different. And I'm still looking for something, honestly talking. I'm still evolving, As long as I'm vertical, I want to evolve, There's nothing that's going to stop me on doing that.
What kind of photos do you take? I'm really curious because
I
that
love
sounds like
people.
a big part of your life.
I love people, so I love taking black and white portraits, And that's something, I forget a lot because with my kind of lifestyle, one day I'm in New York, the other day I'm in Seoul. And I forget. I forget a lot. So I use photography as a tool to remember. So whenever I meet, someone that is as like a character or something that attracts me, I have to take a picture of that.
Oh, so it's sort of like almost like a diary of
It is.
people that you meet or
It
places
is.
that you've gone.
Exactly. In fact, in what's that? In March next year, I'm gonna do my first exhibition in Milan, and the exhibition has 3 different themes, like people of the Beetroots, places of the Beetroots, and future memories. So that's gonna happen.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
And do you think that's going to be a big part of the next chapter of your life that's coming up?
I think so. I think so because it's the first time that I'm doing something professional out of the music business, trying to create a new life for the Bloody Beetroots. Bloody Beetroots is music, yes, but Bloody Beetroots is also photography.
You mentioned Jay Buchanan of Rival Sons.
My good friend.
And, I worked for Sirius XM Radio, and we had a show at the time, and they were just coming on the map, and I loved their music, this old classic rock sort of feel and, great live show. But what surprised me is that when Jay Buchanan came on the show, he was very zen. He was almost like Yoda. That's how I felt.
He's a guru, man.
Yeah, like a guru. And it was just a wonderful surprise. And you said that meeting him was, kind of changed your life.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how did he do that?
Okay, so I'm Italian. My use of the English language is a little bit crazy, as you can understand during this podcast. So I cannot express myself fully in English. Jay can. Okay, so we were at that time when I met Jay Buchanan. He was on tour with Black Sabbath, and he knocked the door of my house in Silver Lake, saying, "I'm Jay. I'm here to work with you." Say, okay, and that's the first time we met, and he had that kind of guru, aura around him. It's Jay. You say, whoa, what's going on here? Who is this man? It's amazing. So we started writing because at that time I divorced with my wife, and had this super struggle inside me. I couldn't tell anyone. I couldn't even tell Jay how I felt. But Jay read me, and he brought out everything out of me, and he started writing what I was thinking. So it was a life-changing experience. Say, wow, man, really, this is all inside me, and you're putting all on lyrics. It's amazing, and in a way, he curated me.
Oh.
He saved my life because he put everything out there, and it was that those feelings were not in me anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was able to kind of tap into what you were feeling and
Exactly.
put it into lyrics
Exactly.
that maybe you weren't able to express because
Exactly, because the English.
The
Yes.
English.
The cranky English.
I think you're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
And then, so that was kind of miraculous in a way to be able to have
Absolutely.
that on paper and getting it so
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
And so that was part of the music that you did together.
Yes.
And, you talked about how you're starting to put lyrics into the music because you do want to express yourself in words. And how is that? Is that progressing, or how is that evolving?
It is evolving. I cannot say anything right now of what's gonna happen between Jay and I, but it's definitely evolving in a big way.
You know, you had in 2017 you had a cap that you wore that said no on it.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
one thing you said was that a good career is made out of more no's than yeses.
Absolutely.
How do you get to that point where you're creating boundaries and saying no? Because I think a lot of musicians that are up and coming, they feel like they have to say yes to everything.
Yeah, they want to please everyone, you know. But the truth is, people like you and people hate you. That's the thing. You cannot please everyone, you know. And saying yes, it's a way to bring the people that hate you to please them. Does it make sense? You gotta say no. You gotta say no, because if you don't say no, you don't evolve.
So
no
it's
is a form of evolution, I guess.
Well, it's kind of standing your ground and standing up for yourself first.
Yeah, and you need to be a stand-up man, you know. You have your behaviors. You stand up for yourself. You cannot be a yes man all the time. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so you got to learn how to say no. You made mistake. You make mistakes, of course, but you know, it's something that you got to learn still. Not become easy. You know.
Well, one thing is, you know, this podcast, we sort of focus on personal solutions, and you talked a lot about what you do and how your lifestyle has evolved and changed into something wonderful, much better and happier for you. How would you suggest a musician reach out for help if they are having like a mood disorder or any, you know, struggles with anxiety?
Well, first of all, reach out to your friends, talk, because talking is a powerful tool, and we all can do that, pretty much. So I suggest that, because that's the first step to open up to people and say what's going on, you know. And that creates questions from your friends and maybe solutions, you know. So I don't think you gotta go straight to a psychiatrist or something like that. Your friends, you know, can understand. Your friends can help you. Also, friends maybe that are not in the music business, they can see yourself differently. Listen to what they say.
One thing I'm going to say is that your name, Cornelius, was, I read that it was based on Jerry Cornelius, which is a mythical person from books. And he was described as a secret agent, a superhero, an adventurer, and all things to all men and women, and someone who was of complete anarchy, but who typically destroys repressive authority.
That's pretty much what I am.
I think that you are. And I think that's great that you've kind of embraced this personality, and, you know, that you are now becoming like this superhero for people and musicians that are up and coming to live a healthy lifestyle, and, you know, what to do if they have some mental health issues or challenges.
I'm here to help, as I said.
That's amazing. Are you doing anything here in the United States, or is it more like a personal thing where you're going up to people that you perform with or people in the electronic world?
You mean in terms of performances that I'm doing here?
No, as far as helping others.
Oh, well, I always, you know, we're trying to approach this world. I did something in Europe for some schools, for some major schools. I want this to happen here in America. Absolutely. You know, it's I know this is happening pretty often here in the United States. So, you know, we're just opening up. You know, Bob is available to talk. Call Bob, and Bob will tell you the truth.
And I'm so glad that you are doing this because it's so needed. And, you know, the fact that you came on the podcast to tell your own story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And you do have the remix from Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
Frankie.
Please check that out. You also have a new tune called Zoning from Zoo.
Yes.
So everyone check out bloodybeetroots.com to get the up-to-date information. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Oh, yeah. Buy the merchandise.
Buy the merch. That's awesome. I'm going to buy the merch.
Please. There's a nice t-shirt saying, I'm Bob from the Bloody Beetroots.
Oh, there you go. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys.
Thank you so much, Sir Bob. And until next time, be persistent in getting the help that you need. Help others in need.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Anthony and Melanie, we've listened to Sir Bob Cornelius Rifo talk about taking time to make personal choices. And I think this is really important because sometimes when we're working so hard, especially with Sir Bob, he's saying he's doing music festivals all over the world, to stop and really think about what you want. What kind of advice would you give to someone who's just go, 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 and they're just kind of going on autopilot? Maybe going with the flow of what other people are telling them to do, opposed to what they really want to do.
You know, I think it's really important to always be moving towards a goal, a version of yourself that you want next. So if you think about it, we're all aging, right? Like, who do you want to be in your 30s? Who do you want to be in your 40s? Who do you want to be in your 50s? And I think people kind of go through life on autopilot and they just kind of wait for what comes next. But we have this amazing ability to create our lives. I told you in the last episode, in our life coaching, it's conscious creation. So who do I want to be next? And when you're in the middle of working hard and you're so busy, it feels like a never-ending story, right? So there's no light at the end of your tunnel. But if you have a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, and you know who you want to be and what you want to happen next in your life, it gives you the full fuel and the energy and the excitement to keep going, because you know when this ends, then I'm going to go to that next thing. And I think especially in the entertainment industry, it's like riding a wave and just trying to hold on to that wave for as long as you can. And when it crashes, it's painful because you don't know who you are next. But if you have a plan, and you know, when I finish riding this wave, I'm going to get off my surfboard and then I'm going to go build a business, or I'm going to create a family, or I'm going to travel, or whatever you're going to do, you know what you're working for. No one just wants to work and they don't know when they get off the ride.
Exactly. When that happens, it's really important to find the time, to take the time, whether it's a couple of minutes or an hour, to be in the moment. Because when you're on the run, and you don't take time to be in the moment, you're missing it all. And the future is an illusion. The past is an illusion. The only thing that's real is right now, right here, in the moment. This is where the money is. And if you're so focused on running and moving forward and looking what's next, you're missing the now. And eventually you're going to start to feel like something's missing. This isn't worth it. Why am I doing this? I feel like I'm on a wheel. Where's my payoff? Where's my reward? And it's just not a physical reward. It's the spiritual reward. That's the true reward. And you're not going to experience that until you're in the moment. So whether you have to take the time to have a cup of tea, whether it's take the time to take a shower or bath or listen to some of the music you love, or to sit outside in the trees and nature. Nature's a great way to get in the moment and tap back in. Appreciate the tree. Appreciate the leaves. Appreciate anything that you can, because appreciation brings us in the moment, and that's where the nutrition is. That's where the good stuff is. And then it'll fill you back up. And after you get filled up, now you're ready. Okay, what's next? But even with, and he mentioned which was great, about what do you do when you come down, when things slow down? We compare it to like surfing. And when a surfer's out there, he's riding that wave, that big wave. and they're enjoying it. It's thrilling. Yes, this is great, but eventually they know that wave is going to crash. And when that wave crashes, they don't complain, they don't get mad, they don't blame, they don't cry. They sit down in the water and go, wasn't that great? Then they look around the ocean and how beautiful it is and how lucky they are to have the freedom to be doing this, and they appreciate nature. They're in the moment. And then they know that next wave is coming. They're eagerly anticipating that it's going to come at the perfect time. But until then, I'm still enjoying it where I'm at. I don't have to be on a high wave. Even the lows can be beautiful. And then next thing you know, here's the next wave, and I'm back on it again. And so it's the same thing in life.